last night. Oh, this always happens. Lips get dry, so what's happening? I'm drinking. Kenron, how you doing? Boom. Fist bump. Oh, really? Got the Twitter notification for us. That's great. Got a little bit of a shake. I got my selfie stick on the table. I'm actually outside. As you can see, I'm sitting in the middle of the road. Matthew, fist bump to you too. I'm sitting in the middle of the road, guys. Look at this. And I'm at table number 1. And inside is Mr. Wu. They call him Lao Wu. That means old Wu. That's actually like a term of endearment. This is Lao Wu's barbecue place, and it's full of Vietnamese people. And yeah. Hey, Dave. How you doing? Fist bump to you. Thanks for joining. Now, you guys have heard me talk about, the Vietnam karaoke girls, and I must admit, I've been a little bit less than nice. These people here are related to the boss. Mr. Wu's wife is Vietnamese, and there's a woman here that works at the Jar Jar store that I've known for a long time, and she's really, really nice. But I never noticed it before. Mr. Wu's wife and this lady sat down next to each other. They're sisters. I never realized it. Oh my goodness. And her husband was in there, and some other relatives and stuff. And the only thing that I'm going to say that may sound disparaging, but it's not, is that Vietnamese people talk really, really loud. Oh! It was funny because even the boss was laughing yesterday. One of the ladies' husbands was using his phone, and he was talking to Vietnamese. He might have been talking all the way to Vietnam, and we kept saying, "Why are you using a phone? Just, they can hear you." This guy was like, wow, into the phone. It was pretty amazing. So anyway, for those of you who just joined, yeah, and you want to still listen to me after this racist diatribe, which really isn't. We're all just having fun here with the differences in each other. I'm MJ Klein. I lived in Taiwan for 17 years, and I try my best to bring you some real Taiwan content. This is about as real as it gets. I told the folks in there that I was going to do a live stream, and they're welcome to come by and say hello, but I warned them that often my viewers will have questions, and then if they do, I'll tell them what the questions are, and they have to answer them. So that's pretty cool. But they were cool. They invited me to come over, and sit with them later. And it's funny because I brought my guitar down here. Mr. Wu likes me to play my guitar. I have a little tiny amp, the Brian May amp, and I bring my guitar and stuff. So thanks, Ken. Listen, this is my Ken Rod inspired, Ken, let me tell you, Ken, let me tell you what you did to me. You ruined me. I have to carry a comb with me now, okay? It's like the Fonz. I'm going like, and okay, so, there it is, man. I got wax in my hair, and it's that's nice smelling wax, and so there you go. Hello, how you doing? No, I'm not. I think that's, even though it says Susan, I think that's Frank. How you doing, Frank? No, it's not morning. It's the guy. I'm literally over the line. I'm right next to the road. Here, let me. Hang on a second. Let me show you this. You're gonna love this. Okay, this is it, man. I mean, this is the line on the road, okay? And I'm at table number 1, and so this is like the the Stork Club, and I feel like Walter Winchell, who used to broadcast from the Stork Club, So I'm outside, but this is just the kind of place that a little dab will do you. It's just the kind of place, though, that you can do that, because in the States, people would run you down. They really would. They'd run you right over. But I'm in a jovial mood. I was really sad last night. I gotta tell you something. My wife has been crying. And for the first time since we've been married, it's not because of me. It's because of the national tragedy that we had this weekend. Everybody knows about it. I gotta talk about it. So I kind of want to get it over with. Then we can talk about some fun stuff that we have done over the last day or two with my 8-year-old daughter, Phoenix. But tonight I'm not eating any meat here. I went to a Thai place earlier. I have some of these unbelievable, like, black mushrooms that he did. And my favorite, broccoli, which is good for manly power because it fights estrogen in older men. Anyway, it is. Tonight's whiskey is Teacher's Highland Cream. It's one of the 2 blended whiskeys that I drink. I normally only drink single malts, and only in moderation. For those of you who don't know, this is a Taiwan beer glass. In Taiwan, they don't have these giant glasses like they do in the West. The reason being that they don't like the beer to get warm. So staying in the larger bottle, you know, the thermal mass, it stays cooler. And also it gives you the impression you're drinking a lot, I guess, if you're throwing down a lot of these. But anyway, so we just sip this a little bit at a time. And what's funny is this says number 16, this says number 16 tea in Chinese, and it kind of looks like tea. So everybody comes along, I can just say, oh no, I'm drinking tea. No, it's just tea, yeah. Of course, there's nobody here that would ask because there's absolutely no open container laws here. The police would come by and I could offer them a drink, and if they're off duty, they can have one. But anyway, let's get into what happened in Taiwan this weekend. All right, I need to explain a few cultural things first before we get started. This weekend was a long weekend. We had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off, so I understand. Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, that's a good choice. Big stuffed mushrooms, for those of you who didn't understand the contraction. Oh yeah. I used to get those too. That's where they would cut the stem off. It would just be the big caps. Yeah, I love those too. Some of those dishes that we would get, Frank is in New England, and some of the dishes that we would get in New England were just incredible and off the charts. Now, tonight, I am using the, the standard, okay, and as long as you can see that, it's okay. If, if I have to, I can do something like that or something else, Anyway, hopefully you guys can see this okay. Guess I should have taken that into consideration before I started the broadcast. Maybe I should have put the widget up. Anyway, there are 2 holidays combined into one. There's Children's Day, which I like because you guys know I don't like holidays. I don't like religious holidays. Children's Day is not a religious holiday. It's great, and it's celebrated in many places. And so the town has a bunch of really innocuous, fun things for kids, and that's cool. So we like to do that. But today, Monday, is what they call Tomb Sweeping Day, like tomb as in crypt, as in grave. Tomb Sweeping Day. It is a Taoist religious holiday, and this is a Taoist country. It's not a Buddhist country. A lot of people don't realize that, but Taiwan is a Taoist country, and there's a definite distinction between Buddhism and Taoism, although there are some crossover areas, and there are Buddhists here, which is, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like Japan, where people are ostensibly Buddhist, but when it comes to rituals, they're Shinto. It's kind of like that in different countries. And I've had the privilege of traveling to many different Asian countries throughout East Asia and Southeast Asia, and I've been able to see different temples and demonstrations and things. So I try to understand what people believe, because it's easier for me to talk to them and relate to them. Excuse me. Now, Tomb Sweeping Day is an opportunity for people to go to the graves of their dead ancestors and tidy them up. It's just what it says. They sweep them up. They might trim the grass. They might, you know, trim the shrubbery around. They might, you know, if there's like some damage, maybe some of the tiles have fallen off or something, and they might clean it up, you know. And which is something, you know, anybody might do anyway, but it's kind of, it's a ritualistic thing. And what makes it so tragic is that we had a devastating train wreck that happened on Friday that killed a bunch of people, injured a whole lot more, and actually created more tombs for ancestors that sweep. It's bad. So let's get into it. I'm going to go through the Prism Live studio. You're going to have to bear with me for a minute while I get things going here. So not in any particular order, but I want to show you that I took this shot from East Taiwan back in 2016, and I have the two tunnels that were involved in this circled. I'm 99% sure that I have this location correct. As you can see, there's a highway above that. If you look closely, there are tunnels in the highway above that. Let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit, okay? Right in the center of the screen, I'm going to put that little yellow thing is a highway tunnel. I'm going to move it over here like this, and the tunnels below that you see are circled. They are railroad tunnels. Now this is the east coast of Taiwan, and we're looking south. Trains in Taiwan travel on the left side. That is, the direction of travel is on the left side. So the left tunnel is southbound, the right tunnel is northbound. What happened was construction was occurring on the northbound tunnel, and as you can see, they're offset, right? The southbound tunnel is lower than the northbound tunnel. Somebody parked a truck, a crane truck, and for some reason, the truck rolled down the hill and landed on the tracks about 15 minutes before a full-speed southbound train entered that tunnel. It had no warning, and it was bad. The first car was completely destroyed, driver killed. The second, third, and fourth cars subsequently were accordioned, and only the last cars didn't suffer as much damage, but the carnage is incredible. And the second cultural thing that I want to tell you is that in Taiwan, if there's any kind of a death which causes the dismemberment of the body, Taiwan culture is that the mortuary service will try to put the body back together. They'll basically just stitch it up. Of course, cosmetically, not medically, but cosmetically they'll stitch it back up. And this is not any different than, say, a mortuary service in Europe or North America that might use mortuary wax to maybe cover a wound or something, and you know, and it's just a way that people here show dignity to the dead. So whatever you think about it, it's your opinion. But the big problem is that this is hard. There was a huge pile of unidentifiable body parts, and these people have been going just, I can't imagine how crazy, trying to make sense of it and trying to reassemble bodies, only to find to their horror that they put some body parts together to form a body that don't come from the same individual. And so the death toll has been revised a little bit because of that. It's hard to use dental records. These people flew through the air. They smashed their faces, so their teeth are destroyed. They've been using DNA, and so anyway, the final bad thing that happened today was they're trying to remove the last car out of the tunnel, and they discovered a body under the tunnel, so now they can't. They can't. Yeah, I know. Well, apparently, Matthew, the gentleman who drove the truck and parked it, walked away, didn't know. Nobody knew. that it fell down there, you know. But there's some questions that are going on. There's a criminal investigation going on too. I'm going to go into the details, and then I'm going to talk about something happy, because let me tell you, I'm Taiwanese, and these, you know, I don't know these people. They're my Taiwanese brothers and sisters, just like everybody else, and it hurts me. My wife was crying. She doesn't know these people, but she was telling me stories about how a woman was, when everything settled, they hit so hard, they flew in the air. When everything settled, she was laying on top of her daughter. You know, everything goes up in the air, it comes down random, right? You know, and heavy things on the bottom, sometimes you never know. And so much wreckage. Passengers were saying that there was metal, twisted, sharp metal, and if they tried to move some kind of object, it would stab or cut somebody next to them, and they would cry out in pain, so they couldn't move, so they just waited. And a woman, she was on top of her own daughter, and she couldn't get off. She tried to move the wreckage, and people were going, no, it hurts, you know, and so she did the right thing, and she didn't move, and by the time the rescuers got her, her own body weight had suffocated her own daughter. I mean, I can't imagine this. I don't want to. I want to imagine this. So, it is. Let's go through the stories. This shows you how quick the Taiwanese can respond and how efficient they are. Thank you, Ken. You know, we always need prayer. TRA, that's the Taiwan Railway Authority. It's been using another track to transport passengers in both directions. Now listen to this, leaving a total of 15,508 passengers on 45 trains delayed after an accident for an average of 94 minutes per train. That ain't bad. This just shows how efficient it is here. Let me ask you this question. If you had 45,508 passengers that were on 45 different trains and they were delayed after an accident, would it only be 94 minutes where you live? I don't think so. Where I used to live, it'd probably be about 9.4 days. It's going to take another 7 days for the TRA to clear the site and resume service on the damaged track. And this happened on Friday. Today's Monday, and they're almost done now, except for the body that they found. We're going to go backwards here. Death toll rises to 50. Let me move this over here. Let's see, sorry, I got to do this again. Crane truck fell within 15 minutes before the train passes. They call this the deadliest accident involving a Taiwan Railways Administration train in the last 40 years that left 50 dead, with 144 individuals injured. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. Let me read this. April 2nd. A rescuer from Taiwan's Red Cross Society could not believe the carnage he saw at the scene of a train crash in Hualien County on Friday morning, recalling the sight of scattered body parts and sounds of people crying in a crumpled train carriage. It was a living hell, said Li Chenfeng, who led an 11-member rescue team that was one of the first to arrive at the crash scene at 11:30 a.m. carrying rescue and demolition gear. Yeah, see this? Frank's from New England. Boston investigation 1 year. Union clears tracks 1 month. Restore schedule 3 months. Exactly. Taiwan search and rescue. let me digress. I consider myself to be an outdoorsman. I used to go camping with something to sleep on and a gun. That was it. You know, I've been in the woods with moose, deer, whatever. I've never been scared. I've been in the water with sharks, you know, barracuda. Taiwan scares me. Taiwan is one of the most rugged countries ever. I mean, anywhere. Let me give you an example. Our highest mountain, they call it Yusan, which means Jade Mountain. It's higher than Mount Fuji in Japan. And the only reason that it's not covered in snow all year round is because of the latitude. Let me put this in perspective for you, ladies and gentlemen, who are in North America. Where I'm sitting, my seat that I'm sitting on is about 60 miles, I'm going to use miles for the North American audience, south of Key West, Florida. That's how far south we are. And Jade Mountain is another 100 miles south of here. It's really, really far south. I'm 25 degrees off the equator here. I used to live in the Boston area. It was 41 degrees up in New Hampshire. So, we still get snow on these mountains in the wintertime at this latitude. So ask yourself this question. How high would a mountain have to be to have snow on it in winter in Key West, Florida? And the answer is really high. This place is rugged. I have driven roads where I was afraid to look down. It's a gorge, it's a drop-off. When these rescuers go out, we have typhoons here. Like in 2008, Typhoon Morakot hit and 2 of our villages disappeared. Slid off the mountain, landslide, gone. 4,000 people dead. Boom. These guys, I've seen them on TV take a jet line, boom, pop it across a raging river, and take a guy on a zip line that'll go out and rescue like an elderly woman that most people would say, she's old, she's gonna die anyway, let her. No, and carry them back. I've seen some incredible scenes of bravery. These Taiwan guys, I'm telling you, they're the toughest men that I've ever seen, okay? And I personally have fought in black belt competitions. I know tough guys. I know guys from Vietnam, okay? No, these Taiwan guys, you know, but they're normal, sweet people. They don't eat babies for breakfast, like some of those mercenaries used to do. These guys are incredible. And they're saying that they can't take it. The carnage that they saw was more than they could handle. It's like being a soldier, only soldiers can detach themselves because they're looking at other dead soldiers. It's when they're looking at civilians that are dead. They're looking at kids. They're looking at wives and mothers, and they're thinking, oh yeah, I got a wife, I got a mother. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Fist bump to you. You know, so yeah. All right, so here we go, the next one. This is a graphic of the scene. Now, this is part of what's going on here, and I gotta make this clear, ladies and gentlemen. I am not saying this. I don't want to get sued. They're saying this. While investigations are ongoing, it is likely that the crane truck, which had been parked on a hill above the track, slid down the hill and fell onto the track as its emergency brake was not properly engaged. Said, not me, the Taiwan Transportation Safety Board. Now this is a section. See, they're rebuilding this whole thing. You see the tunnel? Remember I showed you that picture before? I showed you the picture that looked like this. Okay, now you see those two tunnels? Okay, now we're going to go back and we're going to look at it we're going to look at it like this again. That's okay. See, they've done a lot of construction, okay? And so let me blow this up because it's hard to see, but this is where that little, right in the center, you see that little yellow truck. He slid down and that's what happened, see? All right. Now, this is a shot here, a little bit more information, and I got to do this again, hold on. So, this is just another shot of them trying to, to get the train, the crane truck out of there, and it's just, all right. So all these things are happening. All right, now, this is the kind of stuff, though, that's just gut-wrenching. 3 and family of 4 die in crash. Missed earlier train. Listen to this. 3 people in a family of 4 were killed in Friday's train crash in Hualien after they missed an earlier train on which they were booked to travel. To eastern Taiwan during the 4-day tomb sweeping festival. These people missed the train they were supposed to get on, and they took that train. And it's like, and the smallest kid is the one that survived. The little kid survived. Now here's the guy. His name is Li Yixiang, and he's the driver of the truck that caused the train accident on Saturday. He went on TV and he offered a public apology. Said he's led by police. He was in police custody for a couple of days. They've released him on bail because, it has to be a criminal investigation. But here's what's going on. I'm going to tell you right now. Anything in Taiwan that requires external construction, and I'm not talking about like if you want to remodel the inside. If he wants to build like a karaoke room in here, it doesn't need that. But if you're like a parking lot over here, something outside, especially with demolition, you have to put a construction fence around it, and it has to be lit with these little blinking red lights, kind of like police lights. It's a danger zone, and that's what they do here in Taiwan. And that site apparently doesn't have the fence. So a lot of Taiwanese netizens are mad. They're saying, well, if there was a fence, maybe it would have stopped the car, the truck, from falling down and killing all those people. And now it came out today that this guy is, this is great, this is crazy. Ready for this? It's Mr. Lee is the owner of the construction company, but he's also the construction site supervisor. And that's illegal. And my wife told me today that the TRA, that's the Taiwan Railway Administration, released information that said that his company is on the blacklist. They're not allowed to work for the TRA. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. You can draw your own conclusions, but what is going on? There's a lot of corruption here. So it's going to get worse, and this is bad. But I felt so bad for my poor wife sitting at the table, and there's nothing I can do to console her and make her feel better as she's telling me about stories like children dying and, and like she's holding my daughter's hand and stuff. This is terrible. So, we need a break. In fact, I think we need a couple breaks here, so let's take a quick break.
Hi everybody, you're watching Late Night with MJ Klein on Taiwan Live TV.
Hi, this is David Osaka, live from Greenland, and you're watching Taiwan Live TV. with MJ Klein.
Yeah, you know what? There's nothing like having two well-known, internationally known, famous live streamers do a bumper for you. All right. I'm sorry, I need a drink. So I think we covered that okay. All right. Now, oh boy. Oh, the cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper just hit me. Cayenne pepper doesn't affect like my taste buds, it affects my sinuses. Oh, I love spicy food. I love when I go to Thailand, I tell them to pour it on. I can speak enough Thai. My Chinese is pretty good, but my Thai is not so good. But I know the important things, like more spice, like really hot spice. So, let me tell you something though. If you're going to Thailand, or you're in a Thai restaurant and you can't handle spice and you don't want any spice, I'm going to tell you the way to say not spicy, no spice. Because you know, if you tell Thai people a little bit of spice, to most Western palates that's a lot. Of course, not to me, only because I've been here a long time and I'm used to it. But most people will say no spice, but they always put a little tiny bit in because they cannot understand somebody who doesn't want spice. So here's what you say. If you were going to introduce your dog to somebody, you could say, this is my pet dog, my pet. My pet is how you say no spice in Thai. It's easy. My is the word for none or no. My, it's also very similar in Chinese to like mei, meiyo, my pet. So my pet, it's a little bit different pronunciation, but if you just said to somebody in Thai, my pet, they would understand you. They would know that you mean no spice. But a little bit of spice would be pet nit noi, pet nit noi. All right, so that's MJ's Thai lesson for this evening. All right, now, as you know, Taiwan is very Japanese. You may not know this. You've heard me talk about this before. If you go to a Taiwan factory and you want to talk about metallurgy, you're talking about metal alloy numbers and industrial standards, it's all from Japan. It's amazing. So like, if I get an order from a U.S. company that wants to do some castings, with our company, and they want a certain metallurgy that they use in like the standard or the automotive industry standards, I got to convert it to Japanese. I got to find out what the Japanese equivalent is. Why is that? That's because since 1895 all the way to 1945, Taiwan was Japanese. It's really interesting because a bunch of missionaries came here in the 20s, and they were from the United States, and they were sent here by some Christian group to, I just read about this the other day, to preach to the Amish people. And by the way, Taiwan has 13 recognized, and some say up to 22 indigenous tribes. That's like Indians, like native people, indigenous people with their own language, their own culture, their own clothing, food, cooking styles, religions, everything's amazing, completely separate. They were here before the Han Chinese ever came here. And so some of those people were headhunters and very xenophobic, and they were very violent, and Japanese originally sent several punitive missions to Taiwan to try to punish them for some of the bad things that they did for like shipwreck victims, and they were unsuccessful because these guys are like superhuman. Anyway, long story short, we fast forward and now we're in the 20th century, and the missionaries were sent to Taiwan to preach in Japanese because all of those indigenous tribes went to school under the Japanese system. It was only after 1945 that the U.S. military government forced, this is part of what MacArthur did, they forced Japan to give up Taiwan. By the way, MacArthur wrote the Constitution for Japan. And people don't know that. That's right. Douglas MacArthur wrote the Constitution of Japan. It still stands today. So, even today, on the east coast of Taiwan, you can find people, elderly people, that speak Japanese. It's amazing. But guess what? Right here in my county, all over the place are Japanese artifacts if your eyes are open to them. There's a Taoist temple, the Yimin Temple. You guys have seen me scope that. You saw me on the day that John Sabot and I were walking around, and we did a live stream called The Pigs of God. Remember that? And we also did, John Ho was here. John Ho came to visit me from Hong Kong, and I went around, and we went to the Yimin Temple. It's one of the most important Taoist cultural centers in Hsinchu, and we wanted to show that. But out front are some lanterns that always look really strange to me. And so one day, there's a Taiwanese gentleman out there, and I got in a conversation with him, and I was asking him about these lanterns, why they look so strange, and he looked at me like, he said, well, they're Japanese. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. And then he went to tell me that the mayor of the town at the time hired somebody to build these lanterns, and they were Japanese guys, and so they built them Japanese style. And it was a very, very interesting conversation that I had, and of course, I felt stupid afterwards because I looked at him and went, duh, they're Japanese. So today, we were in Hsinchu City. Hey, how's it going? There you go. Nice to see you. Thank you. Yeah, see. Yeah. People think it's me, huh? People think it's me. How's everything in Ethiopia? All right, look. I am spacing out. I hate this. I'm spacing out on your name. What is going on? I apologize. I know your name. I'm spacing out on it. Oh my goodness, what is going on? I'm preoccupied. Bad. Oh. You're gonna say your name, and I'm gonna pull the trigger and blow my brains out. I'm sorry. I feel like an idiot. What? Oh. All my followers know your name too. I'm sorry. I apologize. I swear I'm not drunk. I'm just tired. So, this bump. Jim, please accept my apologies. I'm very sorry. I hate that. That's like the most insulting thing that a person can do. So, no, I mean, I just like, that's like, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. That was very, that was insulting. I'm sorry. Okay, so, but the thing is thank you, Jim. Yeah. For yeah. Basically, you reinforce. Okay. Basically, you reinforce that, right? You know, you about the Japanese things. So, for those of you who missed that, Jim is saying that he was in a convenience store in Fengyan. Fengyan is just down here in Taichung. It's not too far from here, and it's on the west coast, right? And he said that there's an old man started to ask the usual questions, except he spoke to me only in Japanese. I want to ask you this, Jim. If he spoke to you in Japanese, how do you know it was the usual questions? Do you speak Japanese too? If you do, that's really impressive. All right, so I want to show you something. We were in downtown Hsinchu today. And now you guys have heard me talk about the Hsinchu train station. If you look in Wikipedia and you look up the Hsinchu train station in Taiwan, it was designed by a Japanese architect who also designed a sister station in Japan, and I forget where, but also one in the Netherlands, which I still want to get Casper in the Netherlands. Of course, he's now in Taiwan, and Dave in Osaka. I wanted to do a three-way live stream. Now over to you. We're going to show you the sister station. It never happened. But here's what we found today, and I've seen this a million times, but you guys will love this. Let me find this. Hang on. It's here. This. Look at this. This is a Japanese era. You know, Jim, I don't know if it's Tokyo or not, but I got to tell you, if you want, you can just look it up. You know, the Hsinchu, and it's spelled S-H-I-N-C-H-U. This is a Japanese era police checkpoint. This used to just sit on the corner, and they put a little thing around it to protect it because they recognize its historical value. Isn't that thing cool? Look at that. But now everybody knows about the train station. And I've, shot the train station before. I probably should, I have a vast archive of something like 75,000 photographs I've taken of Taiwan, since the year 2000. But I should probably drag out some of the Hsinchu train station photos. But the other gem is our city hall. This is a Japanese building right here. And it's hard to tell because of the trees in front of it. But as I was walking in, I took a shot of this. That absolutely is like a Japanese designed building. Unfortunately, I was too close to see the tiles. But this is at the end of a road. There's basically a T. Right in front of this building is an intersecting road, and if you stand back on an intersecting road, you get this magnificent view with those Japanese tiles on the top, and it's really, really something. Now, inside, these are some of the typical windows, and kind of the giveaway is the fact that there's a lot of natural wood and, white walls. It's all about Japanese purity, and that's how they are. They love the natural woods. And you see those frosted windows. Okay, well, 100 years ago, you remember the pigs video, right? 100 years ago, that would be, of course, rice paper, but now it's frosted glass. And another shot that I took in there, of the hallways, it doesn't get much more Japanese looking than this with the arch. And I really like the chair rail that's, that's like up in the air. That's really cool. And those kinds of windows. But what happened today was that there was a little Legos kind of event that Phoenix went to. And she was playing on this big playing field here with all kinds of Legos. You see the trough around her, in front of her, going off to the left, of basically an unlimited number of Legos, and she could just play. And of course, she's 8 years old. She loves Legos, and this is fantastic. I introduced her to the Legos Duplo, the bigger blocks for little kids. And as we were there, this is amazing. I noticed this. They had actually made a Legos recreation of that beautiful Hsinchu City Hall. Complete, like with the palm trees out front. See the palm fronds hanging off? That is so cool. I think you can make anything with Legos. It's pretty amazing. All right, so anyway, Phoenix is going along and playing, and there's, my wife doesn't like to be in the videos. Hey, Rob, I didn't see you come in. Fist bump to you, sir. How you doing? Yeah. And so, my wife doesn't like to be, in the videos, but that's my wife with the pink jacket behind Phoenix, and she's playing. And Phoenix is a really interesting kid. Every parent, thinks their kid is smart. You guys have seen that Phoenix is demonstrably smart, but she always seems to have some kind of a plan. She'll sit down, and she doesn't spend a whole lot of time going, oh, I don't know what to do, and blah, blah. Like the first time I took her to the beach, she went nuts. It's like nobody had to teach her how to play. She just was crazy. And so we brought her to this place, and she sat down and did all this stuff, and no plan, no nothing. She just says, okay, Papa, I'm done. And she's got this thing that she worked on for like 15 minutes, and it looks like this, and it's complicated. And I'm like, what did you do? Well, she just had this idea. She put all these people in there, and there's a door. I don't know what's going on in the upper left-hand corner, and all kinds of different people, and, there's fences and trees and stuff. And so, she's a remarkable kid, and just, anyway. But I thought that I would do one more Lego shot for Dave, who unfortunately is not here, and it's a work day for him. But he's in Japan, and Dave will see this later. And this is the King Kong, who's scaling a building here in Taiwan. And if you look closely, King Kong is smart because he goes to work and brings a snack because he's got a banana in his hand while he's working. So. And we just saw the King Kong, versus Godzilla movie last night. It was, or the night before, and it was really, really quite remarkable. So let me show you one more thing. I'm just going to turn the sound off because the sound doesn't matter. They had another thing that they had this weekend, and even though it was a very tragic weekend, people tried to just, get on with their life and play. And they had a thing called Play with the Wind, and it was a huge park that they had built several things on, for kids to play, and they had a zip line, and it was the first time that Phoenix had ever been on a zip line. Now these kinds of things in Taiwan are too small for me because I'm over 115 kilograms, but Phoenix mom went up to the top of the thing and went down it, and Phoenix went down it too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn down the sound because it doesn't really matter. But this is, and I don't have my gimbal, okay? I don't have my gimbal on this, all right? So this is Phoenix's mom, and then Phoenix going down the zip line. So it's going to be a little bit shaky, but this is what it looks like. So that's Phoenix's mom, get on the zip line, and just, like a champion, man, not scared or nothing. And she's getting ready to go, and then boom, there's this cool zip line, which is fun, kids love it. Just like falling off a log, right? Perfect landing, boom, no problem. So this is Phoenix. She's 8 years old, and you would think, a little kid would be kind of scared. I'm sorry, I don't have my gimbal. It's all shaky, but here she is. And I yelled and I said her name, and she looked at me and gave me the Asian V. But now here's what happened. Look at the end. She bounced. Ready? Oh! She bounced, And what happened after that was that the rope that goes up, you know, from the harness to the clip, cut across her neck and gave her a little rope burn. So we had to go to the. All these places have like kind of like a little infirmary. So we got a little ice pack, and she stuck it on there. That was good. So she's a trooper. She's okay. So I think that that's all of the stuff that I have to show you, because that's all I got for today. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's the same as on Instagram. It's TaiwanLive.tv. I appreciate the follow on YouTube. I really don't need the follows on Twitter. It's okay if you want to follow me on Twitter Live, because we're live on Twitter Live too. And this is also Taiwan Live TV. And I also have an Instagram. I have an Instagram account for my recording studio, which is Phoenix Media Forge. All right, so Ken, you take care, man. And I'm sorry I missed you. I missed you saying goodbye there. I was kind of busy with the slides and stuff. But thanks so much. You guys take care. All right, so here we are. Now let me tell you something funny about these Vietnamese people that were here earlier today, or here now. The show last night, and I brought my guitar down. The Brian May guitar, you know. That's the Queen guitar, as it is. And they were having some kind of a party. See, they have opened up this business here too. They're doing breakfast and stuff here, right? They're doing banh mi and some of their Vietnam kind of breakfast foods. And so they were talking and having a good time. I brought my guitar down, and I just didn't want to like take it out of the case and start playing it, you know, because I just didn't want to interrupt them. So I waited until some of the Taiwanese guys that were here, they split, and then it kind of winded down. There's only 4 or 5 people. So I brought it out. I got a little tiny Bluetooth speaker, and I do some like backing tracks, and I was just playing some stuff. And they told me tonight, they said, wow, yeah, we really like your guitar, you know, it sounded really nice and stuff, and, you know, we appreciate you playing it. I'm like, well, I waited until almost everybody left, and it was late because I didn't want to interrupt you guys, you know, talking. And they're like, no, you should have started playing it earlier. I'm like, so it's like, sometimes you try to be polite, but you just don't know what people like and what they want. So in Asia, the emphasis is on being polite. And I have to tell you, I've done a tremendous amount of personal growth living in Taiwan. I'm traveling throughout Asia to understand things like courtesy and politeness on a level that I never ever understood in the United States. Because American people are terrible how they talk with each other and deal with each other, and the condescending and insulting way that people say things, just back and forth. I mean, when I first came to Taiwan, I was off the boat from America, you know, and didn't go over too well. Have to learn how to, have to learn a new kind of standard of courtesy. And I like the standard of courtesy here. I think it's appropriate for a lot of things. It's good. This lady here, she's doing something. I think she's making something. Oh boy. what she's doing? She's putting water in the big pot. See? She's pouring it out by the bowl. She may be cooking something. All right, so. Oh, wait a minute. That is. Gosh, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Some kind of sauce, and she poured a whole bottle of it in there in that bowl. All right, you know, in a minute, I'm going to go there and ask her what she's doing. Yeah, let me go and ask her what she's doing. Because if she's doing something cool, if she's doing some kind of cool cuisine, we could probably introduce that. Now, it's going to be a little shaky. I usually use my gimbal. It's nice and steady. You guys know that. But I'm out here with my selfie stick, and I just want to ask her something, okay? I'm going to have the camera on me for a second because I don't want to embarrass her. Hello. 哦，不好意思，我们吓着你。现在你出差吗？还没。哦，我看你准备，是明天吗？是明天的吗？哦，不是现在的哈。OK， 因为我要介绍你的菜，就是介绍我的客人看，可以吗？没关系了。OK， 我可以拍照，你准备吗？可以拍照，你准备吗？还没准备，今天还不行，我这边不行了，现在明天翻过我的意思说，现在你准备就是很有意思的，就是准备的工作，对，这个可以拍照吗？还没有，因为我想还没。OK， 这因为不好意思哈。OK， 没关系。OK， 谢谢。过2天我准备这边录好了就可以了。好啊。弄七八糟的。我了解，就是我不要给你不好意思啊，谢谢啊，谢谢啊。太可惜了，不谢啊。Okay. All right, so this is what's happening. She's preparing some food, right? And I just asked her I asked her are you making food, and she said no. And I said, oh, you're preparing food. Excuse me. And she said yes. And then I said, is that for tomorrow? She said yes, for tomorrow. So she's preparing. Excuse me, I'm burping. She's preparing the food now for the breakfast tomorrow, right? And so I said, do you mind if I photograph what you're doing, the food preparation? And she said, no, it won't be ready until tomorrow. And I said, but I want to introduce it, to my viewers, and it's how did I say, it's interesting watching the preparation. And she said, no, it doesn't look very good. So what I perceived that she would be embarrassed because it's a little bit of a disarray. So I actually said to her, I said, it would embarrass you, and she said yes. I said, well, I don't want to cause you any embarrassment. I totally understand. And so she was she's thanking me. It's like, I said, no. I said, of course. So that's the deal. So this is what I'm talking about with politeness, in Asian culture. She actually apologized to me for not wanting me to, to photograph that. The mantis is Nicole. Nicole, how are you? Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Just missed a little exchange here with the lady who is doing some food preparation for tomorrow morning. She's actually they've got a Vietnam soup, and it's daikon radish. All I saw was daikon radish and some carrots and some other stuff. And anyway, she may be embarrassed to be on camera, but I'm going to tell you, between you and I, she's a very nice looking person. So, but now some people are. They're shy. Not everybody is an Instagram queen and knows it, right? But she's super polite. And so I also have an advantage of being in this neighborhood for, this neighborhood I've lived here for 15 years. So by now they all know I'm just some innocuous guy, you know. I'm not gonna do anything, so. Nicole, how's everything? Wow. Nicole, I want to ask you a question. You don't have to answer, it's a rhetorical question. Or let me just put it to you like this. We would like to have you, Nicole, in our line group, okay? And if you send me an email to late night at taiwanlive.tv, I'll send you an invite. Yes, Line, L-I-N-E, is an app of South Korean origin that everybody in Asia uses. It's so popular in Japan and Taiwan. They have something like 15 million users, and all over Thailand. You know, whenever we travel, all the places that we go, everybody uses Line, and it's you know, Line is also a it's a verb too. You know, 我要 line你. I want to give you a line. You know, I want to line you, stuff like that, or I'll line you the, you know, the, yeah. And it's so useful. You know, businesses, churches, organizations, government, everybody uses it. And we have a chat group just for late night. It's everybody that follows me, all my friends, and it's, you know, and you're in the family too. We don't get a chance to see that often. And the cool part about it is we have a number of followers in the group. They're not very active, but they read, you know, they read the messages. And you can also kind of mute it so it doesn't bother you, you know, and you can like look at the messages when it's convenient for you. But like, you know, we share pictures and things like, oh, it snowed today here where I live, or this and that other thing happened, and it's a fun, friendly, chatty group, you know. But it's people who, well, you know me, it's people who follow me, so you kind of get the idea of the kind of people that, you know, that we are. There's no politics in there. You know, there's no divisiveness, and it's just what I'm very proud of about the late night group is that many of my followers have told me that that group is their escape from the bad stuff that's going on. Oh, sorry, I got the cayenne pepper going on. So we would love to have you, because, you know, we've known you for such a long time, and of course, you know, you're a Japanophile and very, very well acquainted with Asian culture, and it's not just for Asian culture, but there you go. So I know you can imagine. Yes, we'd love to have you. You just have to install the Line app, L-I-N-E, just like it sounds, which is funny because you say I'll see you online, but it's anyway. It's Naver is actually. Yeah, see, Rob, yeah, thank you, Rob, it's echoing my sentiments. Naver is actually the group that owns Prism. If you down here in the corner, you know, occasionally there's a watermark that says Prism. So let me just do that again, just to make sure that, okay. The other person that I've been trying to get to join us is Jan. I know Jan will love to join us too. And I haven't seen Jan this whole broadcast. I hope she's getting the notification. So late night at taiwanlive.tv. And you know, I got to tell you something. If you guys want to complain about something, or if you got something you want to say, or message me privately, whatever, it's okay. I sometimes have people that ask me to help them with their problems. It's okay. I've been thinking about I did this once or twice. I've been thinking about starting a new feature called Ask MJ. Kind of like, Dear Abby, right? Where people can ask me their problems. Because I found out that for some reason, I don't know why, I don't think I'm a particularly nice looking person, but apparently I'm not very threatening looking in person. I think that's what it is, I'm not threatening. But throughout my life, there have been numerous people that have just come up to me and said things like, "You look like the kind of person I can talk to." I'm like, "I do? Yeah, do you mind if I tell you something?" And I always recognize when that happens that I have to say, "Yes, please, sit over here." And I have to say, whatever you tell me stays with me. It's full confidence. You don't have to worry. People pour their heart out to me about stuff. It's amazing sometimes what people say to me in complete confidence, So I recognize that when that happens, it happens. And that's what I'm here for, So, but the most famous one, Ask MJ, and I'll just tell you, I got to do this again. People, so somebody said to me, "How come everything I look for, I'm trying to find, it's always in the last place I look?" And you know how it's true, it bugs everybody, right? "MJ, why? Every time I'm looking for something, it's in the last place that I look. Why is that?" And I covered this like maybe 4 years ago, in the show. I said, "Dear so-and-so, thank you for writing to me. I understand," and that's how it always seems. Because what happens is you look in place, after place, after place, and you're going crazy. You can't find what you're looking for. And then you look at this other place, and then maybe something in the back of your mind may, I don't know, some memory may be triggered, and you'll go, "Oh," and then you look over here, and there it is. So why is it always in the last place that you look? It's because when you find it, you stop looking. So what I recommend is, if you don't want what you find to be in the last place that you look, after you find it, you should continue looking for it in a couple other places, and then it won't be like the last place that you looked. And it may not make you feel so bad. It may make you feel like, "Wow, it wasn't in the last place that I looked." So if you think that there may be, some little life lessons or something like that that I can help you with, please send me an email. Late night at Taiwan Live TV. And be sure to put in the subject, Ask MJ. And just know this, everything will be confidential, and your name would not be mentioned. There you go. Nicole, how's your mom doing? And how's the weather there? Because I heard it was really warming up. Jim checked in earlier this evening and said that he's in Ethiopia, and he said COVID is just, is crazy. So as people get, the vaccine, hopefully the numbers are tapering off. Yeah, they're preparing the foods for tomorrow. It's amazing. You know, it is local time here. It's 23:25, which means it's 35 minutes before midnight. It's on Monday night here in Taiwan. And these folks are preparing for food for tomorrow morning, like about 5:30. So 70 degrees today. Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice weather. Excellent to hear about your mom. We'll have to do a stream next. You'll have to view a stream next to your mom so you can say hi to her. Do you remember the time, Nicole, that we talked with you on Skype? That was fantastic. We got to do that again. Excellent. We got to do that again. Really? Matthew, I'm sure the irony of snow on April Fool's Day has not been lost on you. That's so funny. That was great. And you know, it's funny how we talk to people for years. Talk to them online, you know, through text, and we've never heard them. Even to you, Coco. Fist bump to you. It's you know, for those who don't stream, like Nicole, I've seen you stream. I think you did one stream a long time ago. But for many of our followers, as live streamers, the only way that we know our viewers is through text. And it's always nice, you know, to see a photo. And yeah, and and hear voices. And I must say, as a live streamer, I've had the great privilege of at least hearing voices of, or seeing in video, many different followers. Coco, I replied to your email and I sent you a link. You should be good. While I'm here, if you want to, you can go check the email that the reply to the email that you sent me, and let me know if you got it. As soon as I got it, I replied right away. Okay. But yeah, we'd love to have you back. And looks like Nicole's going to join us too. So if we can get Jim and everybody else to join too, it's great. The more the merrier. I just love having people from all over, you know, different places. And one thing I love, because all these friends are from all these different places. I love it when they share pictures like of the food. And you know, the areas, the architecture, buildings and stuff. And the other thing I like too, and I'm going to admit something. I'm going to admit something very weird about me. I don't know why this is, but I am so much more interested in other people's families than I am in my own. I don't mean my wife and my daughter. I don't mean our, immediate family. I mean like my ancestry. You know what I'm talking about, like my parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and stuff. I don't know very much about all them, all those relatives that I have. Mark, fist bump to you. But if you sit and tell me stories about your family, I don't care who you are, I'll listen to that all day. I think that's amazing and fascinating. And the more different that you are from me, like, your background, where you come from, the language you speak or whatever, the more different you are from me, the more I dig it. I think it's cool. That's just me. All right. Mark, how's everything? And how's the weather where you're at, Mark? Things turning around from the winter. All right. Coco? Well, still, while I'm here, I gave you a link, and if you want to try it, you can let me know if it works or not, so that's cool. You know what, though? See, I'm from the north, right? And I love that kind of sunny weather, but still cool. I used to love that. And Mark, let me ask you this. Excuse me, sorry. I'm on live TV. You get it? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Coco, I'm going to tell you, we love you. I love you. We all do. And we missed you. But we understand, you got to take a break sometimes, right? So, welcome back. Big hug. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. And I'll reply with a link. Thank you so much. Of course, I got to get back home first, so it'll be later. Mark, where you live, do you have dry winters, or are they really, really humid? Because here in Taiwan, it's very humid, right? Even in the wintertime. In the wintertime, the dead of winter, you can have 60 or 70% humidity. Is crazy, right? I mean, I gotta tell you, it'll be like I'm looking at the temperature in C, and I know C backwards and forwards, and I don't even remember F. I really don't. But I'll look at the temperature on C, and I'll go, now when I was back in New Hampshire, would I be cold now? So I'll convert it to C, and it'll say 55 degrees, and I'll go 55 degrees. 55 degrees. I would be barbecuing pork ribs over a wood fire in my backyard in a t-shirt at 55 degrees. Why? In Taiwan, I got a hood on, man, okay? I got I got a scarf on, all right? I got hand warmers stubbed down, down my shorts. I'm in the shower with the hot water on me. I can't understand it, okay? So it's about the humidity. And what I tell people here in Taiwan, what I used to do in New Hampshire, the dead of winter, and in New Hampshire, right, the snow was up to my belt. So I would kick open the back door, and I would stomp a trail down to my barbecue. And what I mean by barbecue, I mean like an offset wood smoker. There's a firebox, and then the cooking chamber, right? And I would stomp a little area down, and I'm serious, I put a chair there, and where I'm sitting now, the snow would be this high. I'm not kidding, okay? And so I'd be drinking beer or something or whatever, and just stick it in the snow. It keeps it cold. And it would be sunny, and Jim, thank you. And Jim, the invite goes out to you too. Please send me an email to Late Night on Taiwan Live TV if you'd like to join our group. It's a big, take all the ethnicities and different, whatever. Talk about diversity, okay, that's that group. And just shake them up like a shaker, man, and that's it. Don't you love it when people say stupid stuff like, do you believe in diversity? Do you believe in a blue sky? These people, man. So, take care, Jim. Thanks so much for joining. And I'm sorry I spaced out on your name. Gosh, I hate that. Oh, that bothers me. That makes me feel bad. Anyway, thanks for being good about that. So, oh, okay, great. Glad to have you with us. Hope so. Anybody with a connection to Taiwan, also too. Okay, so Mark. All right, so. You know what I'm talking about then when I say that, the human winter here, right? But where I live in New Hampshire, I swear it was so cold that I could rub my hands and start a fire from static electricity. It was nuts, okay? Let me tell you how humid it was. I take a shower in the winter and I put the cork in the bathtub so it wouldn't drain. I'd take a shower and I'd leave the water in there all day to humidify the air, and then I would drain it, when I came home from work. That's how bad it was. But I tell people in Taiwan that I would go out in the sun and, I would take off my jacket, I'd take off my outer shirt, and I'd leave my undershirt on. And sometimes I'd have my gym shorts on, and I'd be drinking beer, and as long as there's no wind, and I got that, the big high walls of snow, I used to get a suntan, okay, like, January 14th or something in New Hampshire. It's pretty amazing. So that's really something. And they find it hard to believe here in Taiwan that you could do that. But when it's dry, you can. But when it's humid, and right now the temperature isn't that bad. If I look at my watch and the weather app on my watch, it says it's 17. Okay, 17 C. 17 C is not that cold. I'm a New Hampshire guy. When I went to China, I wore a hunting jacket. You know what a hunting jacket is? It's a thin little jacket that just prevents you from, like, powder spray, and it's got like a shooting patch here. I wore that on the Black Dragon River. Everybody's heard about Harbin, Japan. Harbin, China. 6? Wow. That's really cool, man. Everybody's, heard about Harbin. This place is further north than Harbin, and I wasn't even cold up there, I feel kind of chilly just sitting right here, at like 16, 17 C because of the humidity. When I pulled the table outside, everybody was saying, "Oh, it's so cold, it's so cold," and I said, well, we say in Chinese, 凉快, which just means it's comfortable and breezy. But of course, it's getting later. The temperature's dropping, but anyway. All right, so let me ask you, all this action we're having tonight, all the comments, is all on Periscope. YouTube, it's all on YouTube. What's going on with Twitter Live? Is anybody watching on Twitter Live? Do you guys watch videos on Twitter Live? That I would like to know, because technically speaking, Twitter Live is a good platform. It's derived from Twitter. It's like Twitter Live. But when you're in the Twitter app, try to find something. On Twitter, you can't find anything. Everything's an ad or IT. Yeah. Dave's on Twitter Live, and you know I'm on Twitter Live too. Okay, thank you. I know I'm on. I mean I can see that I'm live on Twitter Live, but I don't have any comments, right? And the funny thing is that Twitter needs to get their act together and have a live tab, you know, or a way to find live streams. Because the clutter is so much. See, the reason I don't like Twitter is the same reason that I don't like Facebook, is because it looks great, but try to find it later. If you miss it when it's live, it's gone. I mean, seriously, it's there, but it's gone. See, the thing about YouTube is YouTube is dedicated to video, and all you will find on a YouTuber's channel is the YouTuber channel stuff. You won't. It's not interlaced with junk. Like, you know, how many IT companies and data mining companies and all kinds of irrelevant ads and just crap are on. I mean, when I look at Twitter, I'm like, what am I looking at this for? So. You're not alone. You can't find live. Well, what you do is, okay, what Twitter Live is, Coco, is embedded Periscope. You know, like when you're getting ready to do a tweet and have that little quill, you know, like you're going to write something, right? If you go to the camera and you go to live, then you can broadcast live on Twitter Live. When you follow somebody and you subscribe to them and you click on that bell, it's kind of like YouTube in some respects, that you can have all notifications for that person, that is, you know, whatever they retweet, whatever they tweet, or just live streams. But the problem is the likes. I had to unfollow almost everybody. I follow like 20 people. Just other live streamers mostly, because what happens is everything that other people like, you see, and there's some people that over like, they like and they share like 10, 20 things a day. Well, that's what I heard. I kind of find it hard to believe, but it might be true. You couldn't go live. That's weird. Well, anyway, so, all right, Coco, listen, you know, you joined the late night group. I'm going to invite you back to the live streaming group, okay? Because we can talk about that there too. Because, you know, Prism also, because I'm using Prism, and it goes to Twitter Live, and I'd like to bring up that discussion in that group. You know, Rob, you were saying that the other day. Excuse me. You were saying that the resolution is good. Now, it's not that I don't believe that. It's that I haven't experienced that myself. Periscope resolution isn't really that high. I'm broadcasting in 720 because I don't see a need to go to 1080. I definitely don't see a need to go to 4K. But I didn't think that Twitter Live was even 720. But I will admit, the stuff that I've seen, you know, like from Dave and others that I follow that are in the Twitter app, it looks great. There's no question about it. But for example, here's the point I'm trying to make. I know I'm blah, blah, blah. You know, if Dave does one of his usual incredible, amazing, you know, look at this spot, live streams, and you go, oh crap, I can't watch it right now, I'm in the middle of something. Yeah, go try to find it later, see what happens. Okay, because here's you. Can't find it. Yeah, they are. But they're not live streaming in 4K. A lot of the YouTubers that you're talking about are the guys that are doing editing or edited videos, you know. If I was doing edited stuff too, in other words, like if I was doing like you know, excuse me, it's Pepper, multi-day trip around, you know, taking video clips and putting them together, they would all be in 4K. Everybody's phones shoot in 4K. Here in Taiwan, a Taiwanese produced feature film was released a couple of weeks ago, shot entirely on iPhones in 4K. It's when you have to stream. Okay, thanks, Rob. It's when you have to stream. Right. If you stream in 4K, okay. This is 720. This is 4K. And this is trying to make 4K go into 720. It doesn't work that way. What happens too, right? Is that like right now with the YouTube comments, I'm gonna guess there's Nicole, when you send a message and press enter, it's between 7 and 10 seconds before I see it. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not Periscope territory, but that's not too bad. But if that was 4K, you know, I might get it tomorrow afternoon. It's just crazy. I actually have my in the YouTube studio, I have my latency set. I have this set for ultra low latency. What I'm actually doing, I'm not doing anything fine art, and you know, I have a face for radio. It doesn't matter. I'm sacrificing a little bit of video quality for less latency and better responsiveness for the comments. And it's worth it. My video resolution is 1080, but I am broadcasting. That's the actual palette size in 720, and I've been doing that for a long time. And I have a data rate of 4,000. So it's kind of a compromise. I don't need like, I mean, you know, you've seen what I've been showing tonight. I think it's fine. I think it's good enough. I mean, the limitation is the camera, because like with the front camera, it doesn't focus. So if I go like this and I hold this up there, it doesn't focus. But if I go on the back, I can get it to focus. Excuse me. And so if you look at this, I mean, it's good enough. Excuse me. I'm eating this pepper. Pardon me. This stuff is so good. It's worth the risk to be choking on camera. So there you go. I am literally on purpose sacrificing a little bit of the video resolution in order to get the interactivity up higher. So, no, please, no more peppers for me. Now over here we got this. It's got a light here it's like very blue, cold white, and this over here is a sodium vapor. See, I wonder how one side of my face is like really, really white, and the other side is like yellow. So, maybe I should move over this side to get a little warmer color. Yep. Really? Oh, that's cool. Oh, I would like that. Frank is an avid camper. And even when I knew Frank, like 35 some years ago, he had a nice camping trailer. And that's nice. Frank, I don't know if you know this, because I know you only started watching me recently, but I think it's about 6 weeks ago. I was in a camping place, not really, but they had like permanently fixed camp trailers that you could rent. And in a couple more months, I'm going to be going to another place as a campsite. Some of the campsites in Taiwan have like hotel rooms you can stay in. But in the past, and what I'll do is I'll send you an email. I'll find some for you. But if you go back, there's only like 500 videos. We've actually done some camping here in Taiwan and some live streams where I like use my Dutch ovens and baked a cake over a fire. Boy, that freaks Taiwanese people out. I went to this one place, right? And by the way, I would like to see those. If you want to share those with me on email, I would like to see those, Frank. I went to a place, right, where I pulled in and I rolled down the window. Now, I must admit, I'm a white guy here in Taiwan. And, you know, it's not unreasonable, okay, really, for people to look at me and assume I probably can't speak Chinese. I don't get offended. I mean, not usually. But I rolled down the window, and this guy, you know, was like, and I reassured him. I said, it's okay, I can speak Chinese. And he was like, oh, okay, so. And he said to me, it's just that we've never had a Westerner here. I said, really? He said, yeah, no Western person has ever been in this campground. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So. Well, Matthew, you might want to talk to Frank, because let me tell you, Frank's got like 40 some years of knowledge, okay? Yeah. That sounds like a nice thing to do, though, and I gotta tell you something. More than once, I told my wife, that's it, we're selling everything, we're buying a campground, and that's it. I got one campground story. I don't know if I told this a long time ago. So before I leave tonight, I'm going to tell you the greatest campground story that I ever told, about a couple that I knew that bought a campground. I got to tell you about that. But anyway, Airstream is just starting to market stuff here. Van down by the river. Love that. But anyway, so none of that matters. Let me tell you the greatest thing. There was a woman that I knew. She lived in the Southwest, and her name was Paula. And we had an online friendship. I used to chat regularly, and no, it's not what you're thinking. So she was asking me stuff about guitars and things. And you're not going to believe this. This is a story. She sent me a link. And what's this? It's a link to an online auction. I said, okay. And it was this well-known, I'm not going to say who it was, like major world-renowned auction site for high-dollar items. I said, what's this about? She said, well, my husband's father died, okay? And my husband's father bought a guitar in 1958, and he never played it. And he just put it under the bed and never opened it. I'm a guitar player. I'm like, go on, enter. She says, do you know what a flying V is? Yeah. Well, my husband's father bought a 1958 Flying V. And I'm going, I'm wiping off my keyboard and I'm wiping off. 1958 was the year that Gibson introduced the Flying V, one of the most iconic guitars that ever existed. Made out of Carina wood, groundbreaking technology. You've all seen it. It's the one that looks like this with a neck on it, right? She said it had the original dealer tag on it and the paperwork, and it was in the original case, and it was under the bed. His dad bought it on a whim, paid like $450 for it, so a heck of a lot of money in 1955. I said, so what did you do with it? We put it on the auction site. It started at $150,000. And this, my friends, was in the year 1997. I got an email from her one day. She said, well, they sold the guitar, and my husband and I bought an RV, and we were driving around the southwestern part of the United States, and we ended up in the mountains in Colorado around 7,000 feet. And we found a campground that was for sale. And we bought it. And we're going to retire here. And that was the last I ever heard from her. How cool is that? Father dies. Oh, there's a guitar. It was under the bed. What is it? It's a 1958 Gibson Flying V. Probably the best condition Gibson Flying V example in existence. And they sold it at an auction. Bought an RV, drove around till they found a campground up high in the mountains, and there you go. So, yeah. I know. Ah, it's amazing. It's a nice way of life, but you know, the funny thing is, Frank, when I was living in New Hampshire, and you remember when I moved to New Hampshire, one of the things that I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to be alone, you know. It was a dark time in my life, and I needed some time to, you know, it was introspective, I guess is the word I wanted to be. And I wanted to live in a campground, but I found out that New Hampshire won't allow you to live in a campground year-round. They have a maximum limit. It's a state law. A maximum limit of 6 months, and then you got to move. So I said, okay. If I'm in a campground, and let's say I'm in, you know, camping site like number 6. So if you know, 6 months go by, can I go to number 7? I said, no. You have to go out. Okay, well, how long do I have to stay out for? Well, you have to stay out for 6 months. I'm like, okay, so, yeah. A lot of people did. And I'm going to tell you, MJ had a flying V. I had a really, really nice flying V. It was nice. And I'm going to tell you something else. Before it's all over, I'm going to have another one. I love flying Vs. They're unbelievable. And they have a very unique sound. And one of my favorite guitarists, Michael Schenker, who played for UFO, oh, guitar virtuoso. The flying V is so easy to play because there's like, it's cut out. I mean, you know, the V, right, like this, and then there's the neck. So there's nothing to get in the way of your fingers on the top of the fingerboard. You can just like go nuts and go crazy on it. So it was really, really nice. But yeah, you know, Frank, I'll tell you what I would really like. I would love for my family to be able to meet you and you know, back in the States, and go camping for a weekend or maybe for a week, or who knows. I mean, you know, on vacation. That would be really cool. And I really regret that I didn't get to see you the last time I was there. I was back in 2010, and I met Jason and Fred and Mary and a lot of friends that we have in common. And I'm really, I regret that for whatever reason we didn't get a chance to hook up, but it's not over yet. Yeah. So we're gonna go camping again. My wife told me, but I learned a long time ago that as soon as my wife tells me about something, I got to put it in my schedule. Use my phone, put it in Google, you know, the calendar, and I don't have to remember it. I just have to like get the notifications. But I got to figure out. I got to go back and look and see when that is, because I'm definitely going to stream from that, and I want to bring my Dutch ovens and do some cooking. But the place that I went to, that I was going to tell you about, where the guy kind of freaked out, right? And I rolled down the window, and he's like, "Oh, you know, no Western person's ever been here, right?" They had this monster fire pit. I'm seriously. And built a big fire. I mean, this thing was like maybe like 3 or 4 meters across. You know, 9, 11, 12 feet. Threw a bunch of wood in there, lit it on fire, put my Dutch ovens in there. My boss comes over and goes, "What is this?" They never saw Dutch ovens. And I have the camp Dutch ovens with the 3 feet on the bottom and the lip around the top, because you got to put, you know, coals on the top for top heat, right? And he says, "What is this?" And the only thing that I could think to say to him in Chinese was, 这个是牛仔菜. This is cowboy food. And before I even knew it, I was like tending the coals. You know, you've got to manage the coals. I'm stirring them around. I'm putting the top. You know, I look up. There's 15 people around me. I was like, "What's going on?" They're looking at me. What's going on? So it was cool. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Words of wisdom. I made a chili with 3 kinds of beans, and another dish where I layered sliced potatoes and bacon and cheese over and over and over, and baked that. And then at the end, in the evening, I baked a cake. And people absolutely freaked out over that. But Dutch ovens are called ovens for a reason, because they are actually ovens, and as long as you have, you know, the heat is uniform between the top and the bottom, you know. It is an actual oven. Great. Now my roommate that I had in New Hampshire, and you guys know him, Colby. You know him from the Late Night Group. Colby is, I'm sorry, coughing. An international award-winning Dutch oven chef. He won a Dutch oven cooking competition in Salt Lake City with a $5,000 US prize. And we know that judging was fair because he had a blue mohawk and nobody cared what he looked like. They said, that boy looks weird, but he sure can cook. And they gave him the prize. And he used to go camping with us. And I remember one time we were in New Hampshire, and when we went into the campground, you know, the ranger checked us in, and he gave us one thing. It looked like a big capsule, kind of like, you know, like a medicine capsule that you would take, you know, but it was like this big, like that big around, and it had lime in it, and it was for the latrine. You dig a latrine, you do your business, and you put the lime in it, you know. Excuse me. So Colby brings his Dutch ovens and a couple of bags of stuff, and we're on, you know, on ice. And he's over there cutting and chopping and cooking. And it's dinner time. I'm telling you guys, I swear to you. I'm like, Colby, what is this? He said, well, I decided to do something nice, you know. So I did a roast pork almondine with an orange glaze sauce. Over a campfire. Guys think I'm kidding. That was in the upper end of the White Mountains, okay, above Crawford Notch. And we had guys that came to our camp. They said, we followed the scent. Really? Yeah. What'd you guys do? Did you order out? I said, no, my man here cooked. They couldn't believe it. Yeah. They couldn't believe it. So what are you guys eating? They said, well, we got a couple of coat hangers. And we got some hot dogs. The table's shaking because I'm laughing. So I'm thinking they got the coat hanger, you know, and the hot dog's going like this, you know. That's it. Sit down, guys. Grab you a plate, so. Wow. Okay, I will. I will. It's a little too early to tell, Frank, because, you know, the COVID thing, right? And now we don't have COVID in Taiwan, and we can travel, but, you know, when we get to other places, it kind of depends, you know, so. But I definitely will. That would be fantastic. And we're absolutely going to go to New England. There's so many people that we want to see. We have some business there, too, but friendship, too, you know. But, yeah, can you imagine, okay, so these guys got, you know, so they got a coat hanger in there, you know, and it's piece, you know, it's a piece of wire and you know, bending like this, and they got a coat. It says, guys, get you a plate and sit down. You can eat with us. And so, I mean, just in my backyard at another place I lived in Derry. Before Colby and I got a place and we lived together, he would just take some some chuck steak and some string and like wrap it around, you know, like broccoli and carrots and stuff, and just the way he cooked it is just incredible. It's just amazing. So, yeah. So, Frank, I don't know if you're available to advise Matthew, but if you want, I mean, I can connect you guys via email if you want to, but Matthew, I think it's really cool. And you know, Taiwan has an emerging recreational vehicle market. And my wife and I have talked about this because we have a trading company. We have an import-export license. And we have the means to import some of these commodities, you know, some camping trailers. And I just have this idea. I mean, knowing what I know about Taiwanese and convenience, I really think that pop-up tent trailers would be incredibly popular here. And I wouldn't mind doing that. That'd be fun. Wow, so we've been on the air for an hour and, wow, 58 minutes. 2 hours. 2-hour broadcast tonight. Thanks so much. This has been great. And I covered the tragedy that we had earlier, and I was feeling really bad, but I feel a lot better about it now. Now this van that came up here, they're ordering some food, and they got, you know, this is what we call in Chinese wai dai, which is takeout. So they went over here and you know, ordered right from the thing there, you know, the ice box. So that's good. Now this boss here told me that, I know it does, really. It really does. Well, you know, but you know how it is, Nicole, when you're with good friends and you're having a conversation, although I do, you know, feel bad because it's just me yakking, but you know, it's kind of delayed, but you know, there's an interaction going on here, right? And I'm not like this in person. If I meet you in person, I'm not going to be talking all the time. I'm going to be going, I'm going to let you talk. Because I'm very interested in what other people have to say, but I understand that, you know, this is like a, I don't know what he said to me. Wish he'd come back. I like to put him on the air. So, yeah. Sometimes, you know, one time, right, I was with Phoenix, and a guy's driving down the street in a car. Yeah, and he rolls down the window, and he screams, "Hello!" Like this. He scared the heck out of me. It's like and Phoenix like, "Yeah, Papa." I'm like, "Gee, thanks, dude." I mean, you didn't have to like scream it, so. But yeah, I realize, you know, I mean, I've had a talk show before. You got to keep it going, you know. Seriously, if you run out of things to say, it looks like this. The worst thing in the world is a live streamer that's run out of things to say. But you have to be flexible and you have to, you know, think on your feet. So I haven't, but I would love to hear about that. That's incredible. I'd love to hear about that. I love stuff like that. Because, you know, the other thing I did was when I was in North Carolina and I visited my dad, he'd never heard of spaghetti squash. And so I baked some squash in the oven, and then I used the fork and I pulled it out, and it comes out like spaghetti, and I put it over the sauce that I made. Those kind of stuff I love. So yeah, and that, like what you just said, that's perfect for camping food. That'd be fantastic. I'd love that. I'd love that. See, this guy here is polite. He didn't even look at me. He's like looking in the mirrors. He's being careful not to like whack into me. So that's great. I wish the guy would come back. I would be like, come on, awesome. What are you doing? What did you say? It'd be funny. But no, I love that. Spaghetti cooked without boiling water. Yeah. Now, I was talking to my wife earlier, Frank, and Jason Sargent too, and all the other friends that we have in common. Love to see all you guys, and if we can do it, we will. It's just a matter of, it's not, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not really so much the matter of, a matter of the economics as it is the logistics with this stupid pandemic, this worldwide pandemic, and just the way things are, But, I see, he moved the scooters out of the way so he could park, that's cool. But yeah, it's definitely doable. My daughter has never been to the United States, and I'd like her to see some of it. And also, my sisters, of course, my sisters love the pictures, and we do some video calls. My sisters want to see Phoenix so bad. They're gonna, they're probably, it's gonna be death, from kisses. Phoenix is gonna be suffocated from my sisters kissing her, when they finally meet her. So, yeah, you're right about that, Brian. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I did. See, hey, ni hao. I'd asked my dad about that, about spaghetti squash. I said, "Have you ever heard of spaghetti squash?" He said, "No." Which I don't blame him, because I never heard about it either, and somebody introduced it to me and they taught me how to cook it. So I sliced it in half, you probably know better than I do, Brian. I sliced it in half, and I put it, cut side up in the broiling pan, and I brushed it with oil, and I baked it at the appropriate temperature, and tested it. And I said, "Come over here, Dad." And he said, "Okay, what's this?" And I took the fork and I stabbed it in there and pulled it out, and those beautiful strings, of this squash come out. And it's completely vegetarian, much like, real spaghetti is. It's just not a wheat product. And I had spent some time earlier. I had a really nice wok that I brought down from Boston, because I've been doing, obviously my association with Asian cuisine has been, lifelong, and I worked really hard on doing the, the sauce for it while the squash was cooking. It came out really well. So it is, it is, but it's not. Excuse me. It is, but it's not exactly what you might think. I think I have taken out of the studio. Yeah, I removed all the camping stuff from the studio that I had from the last couple of broadcasts. It's more like glamping here. Excuse me. One of the things I have to explain is this. Although the scenic beauty is without parallel, and Frank, I have no doubt that you would love the locations here. You would just laugh at the execution. I mean, the tents are, side by side. Often they have like wooden platforms or concrete platforms. It's just, there's a bathroom with a shower. Sometimes they'll have like a movie or something. It's not really camping, it's glamping. Because in Asia, one of the major cultural differences is showers. In the Western world, you shower in the morning, but in Asia, you shower at night. And I have to say, I prefer the Asian way. I never thought about this before. But when you shower at night, you keep the bed clean. So now what happens is, this is really strange. Now, I'm so Asian now, if foreigners come to visit and they go to bed without taking a shower. It's like they got the bed dirty. It's like, you know, you sweated all day. You know, dude, what are you doing, man? You laid down in the clean sheets. I gotta wash these sheets, man, because, like, you know, what are you doing? And they look at you like you're out of your mind. But then we look at them like they're out of their mind. So because of this viewpoint, which I happen to embrace, Asian people have to take a shower at night. And so all the campgrounds have showers. So around 9:30, you see hordes of people with a towel, you know, and their bags and stuff going to the showers, and they take showers. Of course, I take my shower like 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm up talking with the men and drinking, and it's like, okay, we're going to take a shower because I'm on vacation. I'm going to fall asleep, and I'll wake up at 10 o'clock because it doesn't matter. But it's glamping. And usually the tents are really, really close together. And the 2 o'clock in the evening, Matthew, take care. Thanks so much for joining Fist Bump. And the 2 o'clock, you know, in the evening shower and bedtime doesn't really work because people still get up, you know, at 6:30 or 7 in the morning. But I will tell you, there's a place that I would love to take you, Frank, and it's in the Lala Mountain group in northern Taiwan. And it's just, oh, you boil a pot of water and pour some tea, you know, some hot water for tea at night in the top of the mountain range, and the sunsets are just glorious, you know, and the mountains are covered in grains, and you see the grain heads, you know, hanging in the sun. It's just golden. And valleys that you can see, you know, the distances are vast, and you can't even fathom them. You're looking across there, it's, you know, 75 kilometers, and you're like, wow. But it's just, the scenic beauty is the majesty. And to people that don't know Taiwan, I describe Taiwan as God's thumbprint. That's what I call it. What's Taiwan like? It's God's thumbprints. When he grabbed the globe, boom, that's just the thumbprints. Taiwan. That kind of looks like a thumbprint. And it's just, you know, I love this place so much, and it's just, and the people are just so incredible. So it would be my dream and my pleasure, Frank, if you could come here and visit. You could stay at our house, and I'd take you around everywhere. I'd take you around the whole island. The great part about it is I got a van with 7 seats with a 60-liter tank that can circumnavigate the entire island of Taiwan. 1 tank of diesel. It's fantastic. On the East Coast, not too far from that picture that I showed earlier, is what they call Taroko Gorge, which is a Japanese name. They call it the Taiwan Grand Canyon. It's marble and granite. It's unbelievable. The beauty is phenomenal. And the way that these tough men cut these roadways out of the marble and granite mountains, it's well, you can't believe it until you see it. And you look at it and you go, that's hand hammered. They blew that up with it, you know. It's crazy, right? But like Taiwan, everything is miniature, like everything else in Taiwan. So you can see the entire Taroko Gorge in 4 or 5 hours and then move on to Hualien. So what I really should do, and I haven't done it, what I really should do is prepare, because all, you know, this photo archive that I have of Taiwan, I should prepare an entire live stream about East Taiwan and show you all these places and just how incredibly wonderful it is. And I'll tell you right now, Frank, once you see Taiwan, you're going to sell your house, because the cost of living here is unbelievably reasonable. The taxes are unbelievably reasonable. Like the average salary is about 36,000 NT a month. It's about 1,500 US dollars a month. This is a place that a person can live like a king on a United States Social Security check. Okay? With, hey, Peter, how you doing? Welcome from Montreal. You know, with food security, with, I mean, look at me. I'm on the side of the road. It's midnight. A woman can walk down the street here any day, any time of the day or the night. I have never heard a scream. No. This is one of the safest places there are. And the food quality is phenomenal. You've seen how polite the people are. The language, they can get over that. You can get over the language, you know, because people are so willing to be helped. And I live in like the boondocks, but not too far away. I mean, things are still reasonable. In the larger city, everybody speaks English. So, yeah, something to think about. And there's a lot going on here with English-speaking people, you know, here, and foreigners and so forth. So, yeah. Thank you very much, Peter. And I'm not going to bore you with it now. We're 2 hours and 12 minutes into the live stream now, Peter. But at the beginning, I talked a lot about, you know, the train wreck, right? And I showed some news clippings, and I explained what happened and so forth. So I won't, you know, bore you by recapping that, but you're welcome to you know, take a look at that later. Oh yeah. It really, really sounds nice, Frank. So, Frank is an old friend of mine, by the way, Peter. No. Don't apologize for that. This is a live stream, man. It's like a talk show, a call-in talk show. No, of course not. Don't apologize for that. So, yep, but you're right about that. The shower at night calms, relieves. Better for settling down, like he said. I like this. Relax and sleep. Yes. And mountain camping in New Hampshire. Oh, I missed that. Now Peter's in Montreal, so Peter knows about those New Hampshire places, right? So I lived in Derry. I used to take the doors off my Jeep. Jan, how are you? Oh, konnichiwa. Jan, we missed you. Oh, coming in so late, but that's great. That's great. I'm glad you didn't miss us. I actually was saying that earlier that we missed you. It's bad, but now glad to see you. Thank you. I used to take the doors off my Jeep and stick them in the back. I had the bikini top. I would drive up through the Green Mountains in Vermont, past Lake Champlain, up into Quebec, and over into Montreal. You know, one time, so I used to have, you guys, I talked about this before. I had some amazing Montreal experiences. I had a big fan base back when you know, I was releasing records in the 90s. I had a big fan base in Montreal. And one of the trips I took up there, one of my friends lived in Saint-André-Avellin in Quebec. And all he gave me was his GPS coordinates. Now we're talking 1997. I had a GPS, you know, handheld GPS, but what a fantastic village. And everybody that he introduced me to, my friend introduced me to, they kindly switched to English because my French stinks. And I'm like, everywhere I'm going, I'm saying, oh, parlez-vous chinois? Nobody speaks Chinese in Quebec. Yeah, parlez-vous chinois? Yeah. Fermez la bouche, right? So that was really, really cool. And I had such a great time. and the food was just phenomenal. I've been to Montreal, I think three times. So you know what I'm talking about. That's a really nice place. Well, so this gentleman, right? His name is Christian, and he was a university professor in Ottawa, and he lived halfway. You know, that's kind of like halfway between Montreal and Ottawa, right? And so now here's the thing. I'm just like on vacation. I don't know, like that movie Almost Famous, Rockstar, right? And I'm hanging out, and he's flipping through the channels of his TV, and he goes, man, I can't get any reception. I just, you know, he's got an antenna on the roof. You know, I'm too far away from Montreal. I'm too far away from, you know, Ottawa. I just can't get any reception. So I look outside. I go, dude, your antenna is crap. It's junk. He says, well, what should I do? I just look at my watch. He said, well, it's early afternoon. I mean, you got a mast up there. Why don't you just go get a big like Yagi, you know, TV antenna and a rotator, and I'll put it up for you. And my favorite question, you know how to do that? Let's go get it, okay? So he did. He got a ladder. He said, what should I get? I said, go to the store and tell them you want the biggest, most powerful, strongest receptive TV antenna that they got in the store, and buy that, and buy a rotator, and then tell them, you know, you need the cable to go down into the house. He said, okay, so he bought it, and I did it. I put it on the roof. And I don't know much French, but I know what magnifique means, as he was flipping through the channels, and he was going back and forth, and I mounted the rotator because the problem was he had to go across north and south, so I reoriented the rotator to make it easier so he wouldn't have to hit the stop. So he's going back and forth between, you know, Montreal and Ottawa, and that was one of my most favorite like experiences, because I love helping people, man. That was great. So yeah, that was cool. Now I don't have it prepared, but I have a couple other Montreal stories, and I have the photographs to back them up. But I will tell you about some of those stories in an upcoming late night. And on that same trip where I put the antenna up for my friend, at the end of the trip, one of my fans had arranged for me to sit in with a blues band at a club in Montreal, and please don't ask me what it was. It was in 1997, but I gotta tell you, that guitar player was hot. And I remember the bass player couldn't speak English, and so all I had to do, I could only say, like, you know, the keys, like A or C or E. But he was really good. But one of the stories that I have involves the band Mahogany Rush, who's from Canada, you know, Frank Marino. I never met Frank Marino, but I met the bass player because I was playing in a club in Jacksonville, Florida a couple years earlier, and he did a show with Aerosmith, and at the end of that show, they came to this club that I was playing at, and the bass player wanted to jam with me and some other guys in the band, which we did, which is cool. But the funny thing, Peter Dow, okay, well, there you go. Wow. All right, Peter, do you know Alec? Do you know Alec, who's Mahogany Rush's manager? You know him? You know what, I'm going to tell... Okay, maybe I should just tell you the story right now. So this guy, he's one of my fans, Scotty, kind of a nutty guy. So I got my Jeep, you know, and it's painted like a zebra. It's parked on the road, and I got my guitar and stuff hidden in it, you know. So he sets me up at this club, and a lot of my fans were there, Okay. Oh, cool. Oh, that's cool. Well, yeah. Well, you know, Frank Marino is. Everybody says he's underrated. No, he's rated very, very well. He's just not very well known. But Frank Marino is incredible. But their manager's name is Alec, and Alec and my organization were friends. Like my Danny, who was my business partner, and George, my personal manager. They all knew each other, and a lot of communications. And there was at one point I was gonna, you know, Victor Wooten wanted me to do some vocals on his album, and there's a whole bunch of, you know how it works in this business. There's all this stuff going on all the time, and I don't know about it because I'm just the artist. So I'm in Montreal, and Scotty sets this this thing up, you know, and I said, okay, well, let me go, you know, get my guitar and my little amp. And I got this little tiny amp that I'd modified to make it sound really big, and I put it on a chair, we stuck in a mic in, and we're playing some blues stuff, right? So you're gonna love this. This is my last Montreal story. So I go back home, you know, and I took a ferry. There's a river, you know, you cross, and I took a ferry, and my Jeep is really cool, and I'm driving back to Boston. And so the next day, my partner, Danny, goes, hey, I got a call from Alec. I said, yeah, that's cool. He said, no, he told me all about what happened. What happened? He said, well, he told me about the blues club. All right, take care. I'm going to give you a fist bump. Thank you, Frank. By the way, Frank's using his wife's tablet. That's why it says Susan, okay? It might seem strange, but I keep calling Susan Frank, but that's why. Frank and I have we've known each other for 30, 35 or some years. Who knows? Okay, so here's what happened. It's getting cold out here. Now this is Danny telling me, because I don't know this. But apparently, the chef, now this is what I know, okay? And so Peter, I'm not gonna, you know, testify under oath, but all I know is I played this show. I just did at this club, right? And the chef apparently called Alec and said, hey, there's this dude from Boston named MJK. He's up here playing this, you know, he's playing at this club, and he sounds, you know, really good. And so, you know. And so what Danny's telling me, that Alec called him. Alec called Danny and told him, hey, you know, MJ was in Montreal, man. I didn't know that. And hey, Rob, take care, man. You have to hear the story when you come back. So Alec, thank you. You too. Take care. So Alec's telling Danny that he's working with Marlon Brando on a book thing. And so Marlon Brando is like at Alec's house. So Alec's on the phone, you know, with the chef from this restaurant. And the chef's going, yeah, listen to this, man. And he's holding the phone out, right? And so Marlon Brando's like, hey, what's going on, man? And so Alec's like, well, come over here, you know, and come over here. And so I got this visual, you know, of Alec and you know, Marlon Brando listening at, you know, together on the phone to me, like wailing on some blues stuff. You know, I've been down since a long time ago. You know, it's like, I mean, who knew? So Alex said that I got a thumbs up from Marlon Brando. This is a weird business. It's a weird business, you know. Like AC/DC said, you know, it's a long way. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. But there you go. Well, when I went to bed at night, let me put it this way. After I heard that story, I made sure that there wasn't like the head of any kind of animal under my covers. But yeah, let me do this. Now that we've had this discussion, I'm going to grab some photos out of my archive. Hey, 谢谢, bye-bye. Out of my archive to show you the next story. The next story from Montreal. The next Montreal story on the next late night with MJ Klein. Don't you just love it when I go FM on you guys? Or maybe that's AM. And I can, let's see what these guys are doing. This is funny. I got to tell you this story though, because the last trip that I went, you know, it was all people that I knew, it was fans that I knew, and they wanted me to come up. So basically I asked them, what would be a good time? Give me a good weekend. I'll come up on a Friday, I can leave on Monday morning, you know, and we'll do whatever you want. And so I mean, that was just before really the era of prolific, you know, digital cameras, but I did have a digital camera in 1997. It just took really tiny pictures, but I do have some pictures, and they will look okay if I show them on the thing. So you know what I want to do? They're doing all kinds of prep work. I'm going to keep the camera on me, and that I'm going to ask them, because I don't want to embarrass them, because I asked them before about the preparations, but let's go in here and just see what they're doing. See, these Vietnam folks here, they're setting up a new business because they moved here. And let me just do this. I'll keep it on me. This is the new barbecue place over here, right? But over here is the breakfast place, and those folks are Vietnamese. But I'm gonna keep the camera on me. I'm gonna go in here and just see. So I'm gonna ask them, are the preparations they're making entirely for tomorrow? And just so you know what I'm going to say to him. Hey, 你好。你好。请问你现在的准备是明天的吗？对。是明天早上吗？ Okay, so all the preparations they're making now. 可以拍照？我们一起讲话可以吗？ Okay, so 现在的准备是明天的早上吗？ Okay, so all the preparation she's making now is for tomorrow's breakfast. So 请问你明天你有什么菜？
卖稀饭跟法国面包，还有莲饭。
法国面包是 Vietnam 的banh mi. Okay, so she's going to make Vietnam style banh mi and 还有呢？
还有凉拌米粉。
Oh, that's
面线那个种米粉。
Yeah, that's a type of noodle. 这个是汤吗？
不是汤，那个是干的。
Okay, so it's not a soup; it's a dry noodle. Okay, so it's a ganda. Okay, it's a dry. It's a meat. 河粉是米粉。
那个面线。
Oh, so it's the thread noodle. It's a really thin noodle. So it's cool. So hey, Matthew, nice to see you with it. 现在有东西可以给他们看吗？
哦，还没准备好。早上还有，我们今天还没煮好。
我知道，就是我的意思就是准备的很有意思。
哦，准备就是我们那个。
So what they want to show me because they're not ready yet. Okay. 等一下，Okay, so this is it. I explained to her that the process of preparation is interesting.
弄法国面包还凉拌的。
哦，真的吗？
对。
Wow, so this 这个是那个法国面包的。
对，还有凉拌的。
猪肉吗？
对，猪肉。
Okay, this is pork that's going into the banh mi. Wow.
还有这个一路姜
Oh, so this is the sauce for. Oh, this is the junk. So this is the sauce for. 这个酸的吗？
哎，酸的，咸辣辣。
Oh, so this is okay. So she said this is sour and spicy, right there. Yeah, you're right. No, they don't. Most Taiwanese do not understand Vietnamese. These are Vietnamese people, but it's really convenient because the Vietnamese people in Taiwan speak Chinese very well and better than me. Because before they can even come here legally to work or study, excuse me, they have to study Chinese. I studied Chinese like you know in the Jiaodai University for like 3 semesters or something like that. So it's very nice. She didn't want to do that. See, I asked the other lady, and she said no, she didn't want to see it. So what I told her was, this lady here, I told her that the preparation process is interesting, and she said okay. So she showed me that pork. Now that pork is really, really cool, but I don't want to show them or embarrass them too much. Let me go around here. So let me do this again. So what got is this is what they got here for the sesame seeds there. And what is this? This is fish sauce, right? And yeah, this is fish sauce, and that's all. She put that whole bottle of fish sauce in there. And you know something? I don't even know what these are. I don't know what this is. Oh well, never mind. So that is the banh mi sauce, and over there is that pork that she showed. And I don't want to show it too much, but they do have, these are the, I guess you would call these cauldrons here, you know. These are the big, yeah, the pots. And she, believe it or not, is dry roasting peanuts. Look at this. Look at that. Dry roasting those peanuts. Oh, let me take this stuff off here. Hold on. Dry roasting those peanuts. And she's putting more stuff in here. Oh, when she said mian xian, mifen. Okay, those are rice noodles. Very, very thin. You would call that rice vermicelli, actually. Yeah. So, wow. That's going to be cool. I might have to come here tomorrow. I'm going to ask them what time they open tomorrow morning. I got to ask them. Ming Tian, Ji Jian Kai. Yeah. Huh? Oh, 谢谢. Okay, so she was saying 5:30 to 6 they're going to open tomorrow morning. Yeah, well, you know, we do this a lot. We talk about sometimes I can go into the kitchen and, you know. Oh, those guys, like, they almost hit me because my end, I told you my table's on the street, right? It's on the street, and I wasn't kidding. But some of these places where I know these chefs, I'll go right in and ask them things, and sometimes we'll do a Q&A, and it's great. But I think they were a little bit embarrassed. They know I do a live stream. They know I have an international, I mean, not a huge, but it's an international, you know, diverse group following me and watching. But I try to explain to them that, you know, the preparation process is interesting, and it really, really is. So, yeah, it was nice of them to say that. Of course, I asked the other lady. The first lady said, no, but that's what you do. In Taiwan, if you ask somebody something and you say no, then you ask somebody else. She's pouring more water in there, so yeah, they're really they're humping. I mean, it is right now. It is yeah. It's 10 minutes until 1 a.m. and they're preparing food for tomorrow that they're going to open up at 5:30 to 6. So these guys are humping. You know, that's just how they are, and they work hard. And I know in some places, Vietnamese people have a bad reputation, and I myself have spoken disparagingly against these wastrel kind of Vietnam karaoke girls, you know, the one that grabbed my butt that night. You guys remember that, right? Those kind of people. That's not these people. So it's like everything else. You can't judge a book by its cover, and you can't stereotype, or you can't, look at one individual and just paint a whole group of people. It's same as everything else. Nothing changes. So, all right, I got to get out of here. I got to pay my bill, and it's nighttime. I got to take a shower. Got to get into bed. You guys take care. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time. And I'm going to get some pictures from my last Montreal excursion. Oh, nose is starting to run. The wind is picking up here. Yeah, guys, take care. Thanks so much for joining. I love all of you. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at late night at taiwanlive.tv. Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much for joining. And Peter, I'm looking forward to hearing some stuff coming out of your studio, man. Peter is one of the most beautiful recording studios I've ever seen in this house. Fantastic. Thank you, Nicole. Always a pleasure. Thanks for hanging in there. Say hi to your mom for us, please. Send me an email, and looking forward to seeing you in the late night group. If you want to join our line group, more than welcome. Thank you so much. Coco, take care. Thank you so much for staying around. And see you guys next time. Thanks for watching Taiwan Live TV and putting up with me. Take care. Here you go. Here's the big finger. Bye-bye now. See you. That was amazing. Thank you so much.